Virginia, wake up! Wake up, Virginia!
Virginia, wake up! Wake up, Virginia!
I played video games in a drunken haze. I was 17 years young.
Virginia, Wendell, and Tony are now wandering through the woods with no real direction when Wendell comes up with a brilliant plan.
Right, I'll go and get a stick.
How is that gonna help?
Hold on a second here. Big things are happening. Your stepmother is my wife. You understand that? The queen.
No, Tony, honestly, I don't. More backstory is revealed, this time about Christine, though not much of it is pretty.
No, I knew she was sleeping with other guys. And I know that you don't like hearing that kind of stuff because you just want to hear how nice she was because she was your mother. Well, the truth is that she walked out on us and probably never gave it a second thought.
Virginia is unable to convince herself that what her father says is true. The trolls, still lost in the dwarves' cave, stumble across the huntsman, who is now awake, and the four of them form a partnership.
I have an idea, Doctor. What do you propose?
Does that even work? As Virginia and Tony continue to relive old memories, Virginia really lets her feelings out, and maybe that's exactly what she needed.
I mean, I still have this uncontrollable urge to just go up to people and say, my mother left me when I was 7. I know, as if that'll explain everything. And I miss her.
Look, Kimberly Williams Paisley deserved an Oscar for that performance, honestly.
And I hate her. And I miss her. And I feel like I was on a train and it crashed or something and no one came and rescued me.
Ask yourself, have you ever seen a crying scene that well done? The trio are ambushed by the trolls, who are slingshotting sleep bombs at them, and Tony and Wendell both go down, leaving Virginia alone and... Not for long, though, as the trolls start kicking her defenseless body like cops receiving a call about a jaywalker. Wendell has made himself quite at home, and one of his council checks on him in the morning, questioning him as to why he is acting so strange.
Magic. Revealing
the truth to him, nothing will come of it as the queen, hiding behind a nearby curtain, quietly appears and cuts his throat. Virginia and Tony regain consciousness on the wagon, and while the huntsman is sleeping, the two manage to roll off unnoticed, unfortunately leaving Wendell behind for the time being, who is unrescuable. Is that a word, unrescuable? Taking charge of the kingdom, the queen begins to lay down her new rules.
One whisper that anything is amiss, I will kill your children in front of you.
Not only is she planning on proceeding with Wendell's coronation, she's made
one tiny exception. We are going to murder all the guests.
Now, coming to a fork in the path, Tony surprisingly shows some brains, thinking the longer path is safest, but he follows Virginia anyway through the shorter path, one that leads through the deadly swamp. Deep inside, they begin to hear music, and some fairies reveal themselves to them, only to warn them about 3 things they mustn't do.
Don't drink the water. Don't eat the magic mushroom. Don't fall asleep.
They also free them from their chains, and this just turns into another monkey's paw incident.
Would you like to be separated from each other?
Oh, yes.
More than you can imagine. Oh, well, that's better. You see, now because...
Dad?
We can...
Separated from Tony, Virginia has now found herself in front of the Swamp Witch's hut, and...
Acorn?
Oh, hello.
No, it's just Acorn. He reveals some deep history on the Swamp Witch, her identity, and what happened to her after her feet were left blistered and raw.
She spent the rest of her life plotting revenge, but she was too weak to carry it out. Then she found someone to do it for her.
Who was that?
Swamp Witch is buried in the basement. Why don't you go down and ask her?
Heading into the cellar,
maybe what you seek is down there.
What do you mean?
I don't know, really. I've just always wanted to say it.
To see if what Acorn says is true. Well, we know it is. And so does Virginia now, who somehow begins to telepathically see bits of what happened to her mother all those years ago. Accosted by the evil stepmother, she is drawn to the kingdom by both morbid curiosity and desperation. Ugh, it's breathing.
Do not think. Become.
You are nothing. She will crush you.
so much for being calm. Tony stumbles across something that he ought to know better than to even look at, much less touch, and Acorn gives Virginia some general advice on which direction she should head in to hopefully locate her father. Tony is about to have a feast when the mushrooms start talking to him.
It's one of the essential ingredients of a mushroom omelet.
I'm not gonna get caught that way.
Okay, maybe he ate some before the scene started.
Mushroom omelet, nice glass of Chateau Swamp, little snooze.
Glass of wine, your favorite easy chair.
All right, knock it off.
Man, they really want to be eaten, huh?
But it does pack a punch.
They're like little salesmen. Virginia eventually locates her father, who...
That was fantastic.
And then they...
Dad? What are you doing?
What? Look who's talking.
What?
They're all drunk on swamp water.
One of 16 best virgins.
Tony serenades them and almost me to sleep with a backup choir of mushrooms as the swamp begins to take them. Virginia is already deep in a dream fighting it, and Snow White comes in with the most lackluster delivery of this line that I have ever heard in my life.
Virginia, wake up! Wake up, Virginia!
Virginia, wake up! Wake up, Virginia! In this dream, her real-life events are blurred wonderfully with shots of her childhood, memories, and stories, and much like a dream, the imagery is nonsensical yet made up of familiar and unfamiliar experiences, feelings, and thoughts.
Oh, well, I'm glad you finally have a son now. At least that should make you happy!
Choking on the apple, Virginia is nearly done for until, of all people, Wolf races into the scene, saving her and Tony from near death. All of her anger at him has simply vanished in the moment, and she asks him about where he's been and what's happened to him. She apologizes for her behavior, and while Wolf admits his faults as well, the two of them seem to have grown closer in their time apart. The huntsman awakes right as the cart is pulling into Wendell's castle, and only now he discovers all of his prisoners except Wendell have escaped. The three finally arrive on a hilltop with Wendell's castle in sight and take a small rest before going further. While gathering some firewood, Wolf decides that he wants to play a little game.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
She roared at him.
Oh, couldn't find any.
Couldn't find any wood. In a forest? You don't have any wood either.
He knows. Carts of guests and gifts are arriving at Wendell's coronation, where some mice gossip on the events unfolding before them.
They say that Cinderella's going to be here. No, she must be 200 years old.
And the trio sneak closer to the castle, trying to figure out a way inside. Virginia reveals to Wolf that the queen is her mother.
I knew that.
But Wolf is no fool, and neither is the queen, who is waiting for them with the huntsman. Using an aqueduct, hopefully not a sewer. First Wolf, then Virginia take a chance in the dark water, leaving Tony behind, afraid. Look, I'm with him. Eventually he pops up, and damn if they don't make a ton of noise yet somehow remain undetected. Finding themselves in front of two doors, a magic frog begins to play mind games with them.
One door leads to a horrible death.
Tony has had enough of this shit.
What is the point in having a door that has a horrible death behind it, huh?
Get your hands off me.
What does that achieve?
What are you doing?
I mean, what is the purpose of your life? Just to be a pain?
Don't touch me there. Only my girlfriend touches me there.
At least they discover which door not to go through. Poor frog, though. The guests at the coronation are getting impatient with Wendell's absence, and Cinderella comes down the stairs to more of the mice gossiping.
She can't be 200.
She's just had a lot of magic surgery.
She looks like she's about to hack up a lung. Tony, Wolf, and Virginia make their way to the Queen's mirror room and finally locate one of the three remaining magic mirrors. Finally, with home in their sight, only now does Virginia accept her destiny.
We have been led here all along. Don't you see? It was never the mirror. It was just a way to bring us here to meet her.
Please, let us go home, or we can still go home.
No, I have to see her.
All too soon, though, the Queen answers, and Wolf...
Did I do well? Your Majesty.
Excellent well.
No. He's got to be faking. He's just got to be. Tony confronts Christine, and the two of them try stirring her memory to some effect, which she blames on simple magic, refusing to accept the truth. Here the Queen takes a moment alone with Virginia, who continues to try and get through to her mother.
To talk to you, to make you realize
Don't kill me.
Instead of breaking down her defenses, the Queen instead reverses it on Virginia and starts to implant doubts into her mind.
You were unwanted. It's plain to see.
God. She busts out some Darth Vader moves on Virginia and continues to wear her down mentally, and Virginia continues to try and get through to her as flashbacks fill us in with more pieces of the past. Just can't do it though. The huntsman throws her into the dungeon where her father was already imprisoned, and she has an emotional breakdown over the way Christine treated her.
What happened to her?
She's crazy.
Tony reveals the truth to us, and her, something we're only just now starting to understand.
I never told anybody what happened the night she left. And you didn't even remember.
What do you mean? That's not true.
If I'd have come home a minute later, you would have been dead.
That is just awful. Wow. The Queen now has Wendell dressed and as ready as he'll ever be to pretend to be the real prince, and she makes a terrible joke.
You do this properly tonight, and you can have any bitch in town.
Before giving him final advice on how to behave at tonight's event. In the kitchen, Wolf is concocting a special stew with more silly mice banter, and the Queen, wanting to know how potent the poison is, she finds out.
It's definitely not pumpkin soup then.
Now Wolf is really starting to make us question his loyalty as he continues to cater to the Queen's ego, and the guests at the coronation are growing ever more restless as Wendell finally shows.
Prince Wendell Winston Walter White!
Well, wasn't he trained quite well? Back in the kitchen, Wolf begins filling some cups with the poison, as Virginia and Tony get a translation from the other two mice on something carved into a beam they otherwise wouldn't have been able to read.
Must use the lever turn if you wish to escape.
Finding their way out, we cut back to Wendell's coronation, where his bravery is questioned, and he tells his story masterfully, impressing the guests with his courage.
He lunged at me, and then I clawed at him, and then I sunk my teeth in him, and I ripped his throat out.
Virginia and Tony locate some weapons that neither of them know how to use, and the coronation continues with the guests questioning Wendell, this time on his wisdom.
I found this huge pile of 100 fresh, juicy bones. So I took one and I buried the other 99. Cunning.
The dance begins as Tony and Virginia continue making their way through the dungeon, and Wolf begins passing out drinks to some of the guests. Is he on our side or not? I have no idea, honestly. Virginia and Tony locate what they think is the door to the ballroom, but instead find themselves busting open the door to a room where the Queen had imprisoned the trolls, definitely to keep them from screwing up the coronation. Virginia and Tony split up with the trolls close behind them before Tony manages to delay them while Virginia is hacking away at another door with an axe. Here, Wendell is questioned by Cinderella herself, and when he spills all the secrets about who and what he really is,
I am an imposter. I'm not a prince. I do not want the job.
The coronation guests just think it's another test and behave accordingly as Virginia finally breaks through the door. Now, Tony is having a sword fight with Bluebell, I think was his name. And finally, Wendell is said fit to be crowned. Tony manages to trap Bluebell and knock him unconscious, and he runs off to find Virginia, who is watching the coronation from a higher viewpoint when the huntsman captures her from behind. Wolf passes out the remaining drinks, and before Virginia's horrified eyes, one by one, the guests collapse from the poison. It can't be! It just has to be a trick. Virginia is brought into the center of the ballroom where the Queen confronts her and even offers to spare her life.
You were nothing but an accident. You should have been killed at birth.
How dare you? How dare you speak to me like that?
Kill her now.
Well, she was gonna. Wolf saves Virginia as the huntsman's final shot hits its mark. And as for the Queen,
No! No!
come on, Virginia, I know she's your mom, but she tried to kill you.
Don't die! Just remember who you are.
Look, personally, I'm just not feeling the emotion here. I don't know what else they were supposed to do with it plot-wise, but in any case, Christine, the queen, she dies in her arms. Tony comes in to see the sea of bodies strewn among the floor and is in disbelief, when suddenly people begin to arise and the truth comes out.
I thought you poisoned everybody.
No, troll dust.
Apparently, Wolf cunningly swapped the poison drinks with troll dust and never betrayed our trust. Oh, thank God. Wendell finally gets his body back and everything seems to be coming together here in the Ninth Kingdom. For everyone but Virginia, anyway. Later at her bedside, Wolf is waiting for her to wake from her 2-day nap. Sounds like my wife. And she's feeling tremendous guilt at her actions.
What have I done?
Wolf gently consoles her, but her hurt still stings. Wendell is finally rightfully crowned king and bestows upon his companions awards they truly deserve.
This confused canine will live in a golden kennel next to his very own mountain of bones.
Oh, good boy. Who's a good boy?
I have here a royal pardon for all wolves everywhere throughout my kingdom. From now on, wolves will be known as heroes. For it was a noble wolf who saved the 9 kingdoms. That's Wolf for you!
Oh, Wolf, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Wendell presents Virginia with a truly memorable gift and a piece of history which she appropriately chooses to lay to rest with her mother.
This flower was given to me by Snow White when I was 7 years old, on the day she left our castle forever.
And I still have a lot of difficulty understanding how one can have love for someone who tried to kill them. I don't know if that was cool or not. Wendell offers Tony a job and lifestyle he can't refuse, tempting him into staying in this kingdom. I mean, yeah, isn't he still wanted back in the 10th Kingdom? New York City, whatever. Finally sitting down for dinner, the two share a fish, and when Virginia cuts it open... Look who it is!
On your sweetheart's finger.
Finally, Virginia not only puts on the ring for the first time, Wolf lets her in on a big secret.
You got a little wolf cub growing inside of you. A little furry chap, just like me, only much smaller.
There's no doubt and there's no maybe. The 3 of us are having a baby. Yippee!
I just love that little ring. Saying her final goodbyes, Tony elects to stay.
Hey, remember, I'm still wanted for armed robbery, too.
I thought so. And Virginia, along with Wolf, step through the mirror for one last time, leaving us with a tease of future installments that never came to fruition.
I'd like to say that Wolf and I lived happily ever after, but our lives were almost immediately interrupted by another crisis in the kingdoms.
Virginia accepts her life for what it is, and we end with her and her new lover staring into the stars. Look, I'm gonna cry. It's like when you finish a good book. So there you go, guys, the 10th Kingdom. That was a massive project that I undertook. It was a massive mini-series to watch, coming in at like 8 hours, maybe around 10 with commercials, maybe it was 8 with commercials, I don't remember. This was a huge part of 2001 for a lot of people. I enjoyed it, lots of my friends enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And if you've never seen it, feel free to check it out. It is available on YouTube to purchase or rent. It's also up on someone else's channel. I don't know how that works half the time, where they're like, oh, you can rent this one, you can buy this one, but somebody else already has it up on their channel for free. Whatever. The point is, this has been a hell of a journey. I've had a blast making this, and if you were curious as to why I decided to do this, obviously I'm a big fan of this series, but I also felt like I needed a challenge. So by putting my effort into making this massive 3-part review, at this point, I feel like nothing is impossible. Nothing's unreachable. What I'm trying to say is, in the future, there's no movie that I'll ever watch that I'll feel like there's no way I can review that. It's too long or whatever. I just did an 8-hour mini-series, for crying out loud. And I also want to make a side note here. All throughout this series, I find it funny that the trolls are using the phrase, suck an elf. Now, for Stephen King fans out there, if you've ever read Black House that he co-wrote with Peter Straub, which is the sequel to The Talisman, it actually takes place partly in the real world, and there's a character in that novel who runs around saying suck an elf because he was a big fan of the TV miniseries The 10th Kingdom. So that's a tiny bit of trivia. I never forgot that. I remember reading the book and being blown away and just thought it was cool, because apparently Stephen King was a big fan of it as well. So that ought to tell you something. If you're a Stephen King fan, then hell, he thought it was cool, so I don't know. Doesn't matter what other people think, doesn't matter what I think, but hopefully you've enjoyed listening to what I thought, and if you have, as always, hit the thumbs up button, leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't, and make sure you turn on the notification bell if you want to know exactly when I'm uploading content. So, until next time, thanks for watching, guys.
Like and subscribe for future